Hi everyone, my name is Mark Ironson, and I thought in this video I'd tell you a little story. And the little story is relevant to property and your business, and it's called Dominate Your Ground, and I get asked loads of times, what is it about? The whole phrase came from my military background. I was a soldier for 12 years, absolutely loved it. If you cut me in half at 17 years old, I was camouflaged. I always wanted to be a soldier as a kid. The phrase comes from when we have a conflict, when we have some ground to cover or some ground to protect, and that transposes over to business as well, because the ground may be a hill, maybe a fort, it may be a shopping centre even, or a church, or just a big building. That's the military force in that area, or the military defence in that area. They occupy the ground. And what they do, that's the start. They occupy the ground, and then they send patrols out in a cloverleaf type formation. First the patrols are a day, or a half day, or a few hours, and they come out from the fort or the hill or the defensive area, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And these cloverleaf patrols, they start for a few hours, then a day, and then a few days, and then the bigger packs go on, and then a week, and this area, this ground is defended, and that's called dominating the ground. And so it's a military phrase, and let's jump forward to the mid-90s. I was in a corporate career and looking after sales reps on the ground. That exact phrase came to mind with my reps. I had 55 reps, or I had 55 staff, 48 reps on the ground, and then 5 managers managing those guys. And what they'd have is, they'd have 160 customers a month, about 40 customers a week. They'd spend 45 minutes in each customer's premises, selling them products and services and their company. And what we do is we'd use a cloverleaf formation round the ground, and what that would do was keep the competition out, and it would get more of our product in the stores, because we were a wholesaler, so we'd sell from wholesale to retail into retail stores. And the more strict they kept to a cloverleaf formation, kept more competitors out and got more of our stuff in, effectively dominating the ground. And a lot of people ask me in property, what is this dominate your ground thing, and why does it relate to property? Well, I've heard lots of people think and tell me that their patch doesn't work, their ground doesn't work, their property in their area is too expensive, it doesn't work for serviced accommodation, it doesn't work for flats, or it doesn't work for single-lets, or it doesn't work for HMOs because of Article 4, or whatever reason it is, they want to move to another area. And I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, the grass is greener on the other side, and this actually relates to that, because the grass isn't greener on the other side, it's just a different shade of green. My golden rule is stick to your area, stick to where you live, around a 30-minute to 45-minute radius of where you are, and trade or invest in your area. Now let's say that service accommodation doesn't work in your area, for example. Let's say singlets don't work in your area because they're too expensive. Let's say there's no HMO market in your area because it doesn't work. Change your strategy, not your area. And the reason for that is as we get older, you could pick an area 20 or 30 miles away or 40 miles away, and I've got a good example of this where there was a chap that I was teaching on the Dominate Your Ground course, and he said, I live in Cambridge, and Cambridge doesn't work as an investment area because the property is too expensive. And he wanted to come to Northampton to buy property. Now, I did try to convince him to stay in Cambridge, and I used to live in Cambridge, so I even gave him the estate or the area or the ground to operate in and what strategy to use. Unfortunately, he didn't believe me, and he came to Northampton. This is the downside. So I can get to Northampton in about 10 minutes. So I can not only get to the customer before him, I can do the deal before him, heck, I can even sell the property as a deal before he can even get to the customer. Coming from Cambridge to Northampton, me 10 minutes on dual carriageway, easy drive, easy to get to the customer, do the deal, get it sold out, put cash in my till before he can even get to the customer. It makes sense to do it where he is and where I am, and it makes sense for you to trade on your own ground where you are. Don't do the travelling, because as travelling gets harder, it will take you longer to get to patch, longer to get to your houses, so trade where you are. And that's the idea of dominating the ground. So I look forward to seeing you shortly. My name's Mark Ironson.